Welcome to No Todo Se Cura con Vix, your go-to destination for Latinas getting real with their healing journey. We are so thrilled to have you here with us today. First off, we want to extend a heartfelt thank you to all our listeners. Your support, your loyalty mean the world to us. Without you, none of this would even be possible. We also want to take a moment to express how much your support matters. Every download, share, and like helps us grow and reach more people who might benefit from our content. So, if you enjoy what you hear today, I encourage you to hit that download button and share our episodes with your friends, your family, and anyone who you think might enjoy them. Your actions truly make a difference in helping us expand our podcast family. So once again, thank you for being a part of our journey with us. Let's continue to learn, grow, and explore together. Now, let's jump right into today's episode.
Hey, hi, mi gente. Welcome to a new episode of No Todo Se Cura con Vix. We are back. Yes.
This is your host, Heidi.
Maggie.
And this is Jessie.
And we are so happy to be back. We had a nice little break and we were trying to create more beautiful content to share with you beautiful people. And today we are honored to have with us Luz Mack, who is joining us. Yes, this beautiful soul is a best-selling children's book author and a creative producer and a coach from the South Bronx. Woo!
Wow. Representing the Bronx.
That's right, New York. Anyways, originally from Villa Mella, the Dominican Republic, that's sabe mi gente de Santo Domingo. Luz's journey is a testament, mi gente, okay, to the transformative power of representation in literature. I'm so proud of this girl. We went to school together, PS84, yes. For those that don't know, okay? And this beautiful soul is driven by a profound desire to foster inclusivity. Luz's passion for storytelling was ignited when her beautiful daughter expressed the need to conform, inspiring Luz to pen tales that celebrate diversity and identity. From her acclaimed work, Pequeña María descubre su baile, featured on PBS, to her collaboration with Disney on Family is Everything, Disney's Encanto, Luz's voice resonates as a beacon for diversity and inclusion in children's literature. Join us as Luz shares her inspiring journey and insights into the powerful storytelling, sharing beautiful minds and hearts. Welcome, Luz.
Welcome.
Before we start,
introduction.
Vamos a hablar inglés.
I just want to say that I recently read to my 5-year-old, Maria discovers her dance, and he loved it.
Thank you.
It was a really good book.
That means a lot to me.
He really enjoyed it. He really enjoyed it.
Yo sentí como que yo leí ese libro 3 veces. Because when I first came with the idea, everyone was like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you doing a book about dance? And 5 different types of dances. You're Dominican, tú no puedes hablar de esto. O es demasiado complejo. Los niños necesitan cosas más sencillas. And I realized kids are more resilient than we lead on.
Yeah.
That we can start talking about culture in a child appropriate way. And to be honest, publishing turned it down. And that's how I published that book with Angie. And it was featured on PBS. Con todo el dolor de cabeza que me dieron to publish that book. You know, the animation is beautifully done. It was self-funded. Como en decir, eso lo hicimos en el patio. Pero honestly, people really had a hard time coming to think about kids learning about culture through dance. And thinking about like it was a convoluted topic. Like we couldn't talk about Mexican culture through dance, Dominican culture through dance, Puerto Rican culture through dance, Cuban culture through dance. They just felt like it was too much. And I'm glad it proved people wrong. It's still one of the most
Yeah.
sought after books that I wrote.
Wow.
No, yeah, he loved it. He asked a lot of questions about like the different dances. Like we YouTube some of the dances, and then when it got to when it got to the merengue part, he's like, "Mama, that's like us, the Dominican." I was like, "Yes, we dance merengue and bachata." Yes, it was so cool.
And it's so important to teach our children this, you know? We grew up with this in our hearts, in our culture. Ya eso está en la sangre. Yo no puedo oír un merengue, una bachata, una salsa que yo no me mueva, yo no lo cante, yo no tenga esa vibración. So it's so nice that you're introducing that.
Yeah. What's the Dominican saying that they say, a ti no te... ¿Cómo es? A ti no te bailaron.
No te brincaron
cuando chiquita.
A ti no te brincaron cuando chiquita.
That is
Hay que no
so
sabe
true.
bailar.
A mí se me olvidó ese decir, pero es verdad. And honestly, there's one more thing. I recently did an online game for Maria Descubre Su Baile, which is free and kids can play. And it's a great way for kids to do like the recap of a story and still play with the idea through learning and fun. And it's something that I've been very passionate about. Learning shouldn't be boring. I know like I wasn't a big lover of books when I was a child. So I wanted to do another way to capture kids that were like me, that weren't so like enthused when they saw a book. I wanted them to like play with something. So I did an online game and I recently had a reading and I kind of videotaped a lot of the kids playing the games after the books. And it was a hit. The teacher said, "Can you give us the links?" And they're all free to use. Obviously, as a creator, I want to be in more spaces and opportunities where we're creating things that it benefits the masses. But books are not just the only way we could educate kids. Like, there's more to that. So, yeah. Yo quiero que ellos sientan el sazón del libro, no solamente leyéndolo, viéndolo por un YouTube, también jugando con eso.
Yes.
Ellos ven a Maria por donde quiera, right? So it's beautiful that you're able to do. I've seen you even have like gear. Hi, Luz. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Luz. How did this whole journey for writing and how did this begin for you? How did that come into fruition?
To be honest, I after I graduated with my master's in public administration and I was a single mother for a short amount of time with my oldest daughter, um, I got married to my husband, my now husband, and we had Chloe. And when we had Chloe, you know, my husband is African American, I'm Dominican. I think one of the things that really stood out to me, I have this child that is like a perfect melt, like perfect like chocolate of both of us, but I didn't really notice how much blackness will like one day be the reason why I wanted to be like an advocate about it. An advocate about Black culture, an advocate for little girls. Because when I grew up, the Gerber baby was white. You know, I didn't see a Gerber baby that looked like my baby. And I have this daughter that had the perfect little fro, cute. She had my skin tone. But in a world where we didn't see kids like her being kind of represented and shine, obviously we're in a different age now where we see a lot of diversity to a certain degree. Let's be honest, to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But
we still got a lot of work to do.
We got a lot of work to do. But when I put my daughter in a really good school, that's when it didn't hit me until I saw what she wanted to be. I want to be like my friends. I want to look like my friends. I want to do everything like my friends. I didn't grow up like that. I grew up in DR. I came here when I was 6 and 7. She doesn't know what it's like to run around in the backyard of someone's house without shoes on, you know, or pisar en fango. You know, like she doesn't know none of that stuff. So to hear her talk with such like a void, like almost like I am nothing if I can't be like that. That was triggering to me. Um,
Wow.
all her friends were beautiful little white girls with blonde hair, light eyes, and it's weird because every kid has a right to be beautiful and be who they are, but I was really triggered at the fact that when she asked me to dye her hair blonde, I didn't find any children's book about Dominican culture, any children's book about African American culture. And this is the weirdest part. African American culture is it's the most predominant race, you know? They are
Yeah.
like it's everywhere. The diaspora too, when you think about it. How about New York City? We're over 1 million Dominicans. There's more Dominicans in the Bronx than El Distrito Federal de la República Dominicana. And I was like, how is it that we're the majority and we don't even see ourselves in books? We don't see ourselves in. So that was the part that I was having a hard time with. Like I could count with one hand how many kids that were not of color were in my classroom growing up. But here it was the reverse. Chloe was experiencing the reverse.
The
So
reverse.
that's when I started
Wow.
noticing. Because think about it, when we go to a workplace, also we are the minority. The people that are the
Mm-hmm.
dominant culture do not. Ellos no comen plátano. You know what I mean? And it's Pero tú te pones a pensar, like, what is it about white culture that has gone to this hierarchy? And and I really don't want to make it about race. I really don't want to think in those terms, but it's a sad reality, you know, that,
Yeah.
and most
Yeah.
of
It
our
is.
experience, we have to learn to understand that although we might be the dominant culture in many places, we might not be the dominant culture in corporate America, in academic
Mm.
institutions. You know, I know I'm taking a long time to get there, but it's for a reason. The reason is we don't think like this until it really hits us. So to me, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to write a children's book. I thought I was going to write one. Little did I know I was going to get a big love for reading. Most of my life, I worked in hospitals, and I'm gonna be honest. After having a master's in public administration and being a supervisor in hospitals, one of the things that I noticed the most in a hospital setting was I wasn't happy. Most of the doctors I work with, they don't work for people. They don't work to make like find cures for things. It was just like very much because their
It's
family are
numbers.
doctors. It's something else, but it didn't bring me joy. So when I started writing children's books, it brought me a lot of joy. It brought me a lot of joy being in the classroom and working with kids. I still have a day job, but as you could tell, this is how it started. It started because I wanted to make sure my daughter saw herself in the pages of a book. And little did I know that will turn into what will be my biggest passion in life.
Thank you
That's
for
very
sharing.
beautiful.
That
Yeah,
was
that's a
beautiful.
beautiful story.
Yes, and it's exactly like it's so interesting because we've been having this conversation in the podcast and outside of the podcast where we are all first gen. So our
Mm-hmm.
experiences is completely different than our children. You know, how their view, how they see themselves. Because for us, like we were talking to my youngest son and he says, you know, I know that my life was different than yours and I had more opportunities than you, right? Because you always try to raise your child, you know, and have better opportunities that you had. But he goes, when you describe your upbringing where all your cousins were together and you were all living together and enjoying each other and those were your friends and the family was always together. He goes, I didn't experience that. And
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had that because I did not experience that sense of community and family,
Yeah.
That
which
is
Which
we
is so
something
did.
I
important.
struggle. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
something I struggle with a lot because not only my kids never experienced no los domingos en la casa de mamá para cenar.
Sí.
Like Sundays was like a family thing.
We did that too.
Mm-hmm.
They never experienced that, and they never knew what it was to go from one house to another. A Lambel. They never knew that. Because pero tú me entiendes, porque yo me crié en un campo, so nosotros en la casa de mamá antes que la quitaran, it was una casa grande, el atrás era la cocina y después como mucha casita al lado, mucha casita, and that was all family. So cuando los muchachos querían después de cenar, para la familia, a fuñir la pita, eso es lo que decían, a fuñir la pita va ella.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so funny. You said something about Chloe too, wanting to, resemble or look like her friends. My daughter Alicia went through the same thing. Y llegó un tiempo que ella me dijo a mí, yo estaba caminándola and I was holding her hand y ella me dice a mí, y yo estaba hablándole español, me dice ella, mami, shh, stop. You're embarrassing me. Just speak to me in English when we walk up this block. Y yo dije, bueno, tú estás bien equivocada, muchachita. Ahora es verdad que yo te voy a hablar español. Tú te estás volviendo loca. Muchachita. Tú te estás volviendo loca. No. And I saw it and that bothered me. So I didn't think like that, like you said, that trigger. It was like, no, I'm going to make her own this. I'm going to make her own that this is where she comes from and be proud. Y gracias a Dios que eso se le quitó. Now ahora ella es una muchacha, me forget about it, that is all about her culture, but it was so difficult to see your child trying to lose her identity, to just fit in so much because she thought that that's the proper way to look and that's the proper way to act and that's the proper way to be. And I didn't like that. Yeah. I am so glad you made this such a big difference and you created this for all children, and even us as grown-ups.
Reading those.
I'm really grateful that you said that because, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Maggie, but I'm gonna also share. Like,
that's okay.
My kids don't really know Spanish, and not because no tenía deseo que yo aprendiera el español, pero yo tengo mi esposo. Él es moreno americano. Él entiende el español y no lo habla, y yo tengo siempre esa cruz encima. Even los primitos de ellos saben español, pero no lo hablan. Y yo no sé, yo digo que esta es la generación que entiende el español y no lo quiere hablar. So I've been learning to kind of deal with grace, because es verdad lo que tú dices, ellos toditos se avergüenzan at some point. Pero quiero todavía sembrarle la dominicanidad.
Through all the challenges that you face, through all the things that happen, como tú dijiste, que yo había gente que te decían a ti, ¿y por qué tú estás escribiendo un libro así de bailar? ¿Y por qué tú estás haciendo esto? Like, what just kept you pushing? What said to you, a mí no importa lo que tú me estás diciendo, I am going to continue this passion. I'm going to continue doing this.
So, una cosa que a mí me gusta educar a la gente y el público es que yo soy, a lo primero yo comencé como autopublicándome. ¿Qué quiere decir eso? Que yo publiqué todo a mi esfuerzo. Pagué por las ilustraciones, pagué un editor, me asesoré y busqué gente para que me ayudara a hacer un lanzamiento de libro. Y seguí haciendo eso. Traté buscando agents, como dicen los gringos, traté buscando editoriales, pero de verdad, lo que yo me di cuenta, lo más que yo trataba de hacerlo en la forma tradicional de publicar un libro, no me estaba sucediendo. Y tuve que yo primero analizar el por qué no estaba pasando. Y el por qué no estaba pasando, porque las editores que están representando, muchas de esas editoriales, no son dominicanos. El gran por ciento son americanos. ¿Cómo van ellos a comprender? Te voy a dar este ejemplo. El libro El secreto del plátano. Yo lo lancé a 75 editores. Toditos me dijeron que no hasta llegar a la persona que me lo cogió. 75, 75, just in case.
Wow, diciéndote que no y no y no.
Y yo quise publicar ese libro tradicionalmente por un homenaje a mi abuela, pero quería dejar dicho que aunque la gente me decía que no, yo había publicado ya sola, autopublicándome como autora, y todavía llegué a tener algunos logros que varias gente no han llegado a tener, aunque son publicados tradicionalmente. Y digo varios, no para de que echarme la que soy muy buena o pues soy una matatana en este espacio, porque no lo soy, hay muchas cosas que aprender, pero para decir, concho, you know what, no matter what, I wasn't gonna give up, yo me voy a dar mi valor, yo voy a hacer lo que yo quiero hacer, voy a tratar de a publicar este libro a mi manera, porque los editores, otra vez, vuelvo y repito, no vienen de nuestras comunidades, no entienden nuestro lenguaje y cómo van a entender nuestra cultura que estamos tratando de trazar en papel. No van a comprenderlo y usualmente el editor es blanco. El editor viene de otra manera de ver las cosas. Ellos valen el dinero de American, ¿cómo le dicen? The white dollar. They care about where the money's coming from, so they're always thinking about the larger community. So they're always thinking like an American culture, like, oh, this has to appeal to the wider audience. A lot of Black and brown authors, when we hear wider audience, we don't think wider like WIDER. We think whiter, because I think that's what they're really trying to say. And I'm not trying to, again, be racist, but they never incorporate or think about Black and brown dollars. They don't think about, oh, you're doing a book about merengue. It's going to appeal to South America, Central America, the Caribbean. No, they're going to say, will it appeal to a wider audience? What does that mean? So you just X'd out millions of people that it appealed to.
Yeah,
you know what
a
I
huge
mean?
amount.
It was a huge market.
Yeah.
There's a market in everything. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
There is. Yep.
Have you ever experienced a time where you went to see, okay, this publisher, okay, here's my book. Did they ever say, change this, change this, change this? We don't like this. Make this like this.
Yeah, there was one publisher,
of course,
con El Secreto del Plátano, that they were confused why I wanted the character to look very black, like very black looking, because she's like, you're sitting before me and you're like a very, you don't have a lot of chocolate in your skin, and they actually used the word chocolate in my skin. And I said, but this is how my grandmother looked like, and I had to pull up a picture. Like this story is you know, it's an honor of her. So I had to like validate the variety of melanin in her culture. Just because you might see a Dominican that's whiter or, you know, less chocolatey than you think, that doesn't mean that they're any less Dominican. Or if you see my hair straight and one day with braids. You know, but the term chocolatey was used, and it always like confused me, you know? Yeah, but that's publishing. You know, publishing is not the easiest. And the media is not easy either. Media is actually 20 times harder, because I think Latinos are 3%. And when we say Latinos, we mean Mexican, Dominican, Puerto Riqueño, Salvador, Ecuadorian. And in publishing, we're 6%.
Yeah. Wow. It's so sad. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. What a journey. So, I mean, why, out of curiosity, I know you've done, and you explained why you started children's books. You know, you were inspired by what your daughter experienced. Did you ever say to yourself, should I write adult books? should I stick with children? Why children's books?
For the children's book, I started with my daughter. I've been wanting to write an adult book, but every time I try, like, I kind of second guess myself. I have more people pushing me to. I am working on some of anthology projects that are for adults. One of them is called When the Black People Leave Run, and it's supposed to be uh, uh, incorporating other people who want to submit a story anonymously about something that they experience in the workplace that is not, let's say, is not okay. And
Wow.
also,
Yeah.
I
I
want
seen that on your website. Beautiful. Yeah.
and I did it because, social media talks about it, but people, I want to, like, memorialize the stories, like make it the stories about the people. Like, there was this one person that said this on social media, and it struck me. This woman, who's Black, was saying that her white coworker said, "Hey, I noticed that I've met for lunch everyone in the team except you. Can we meet?" She's like, "Oh, thank you. That's very kind. But I usually like to go to lunch by myself. I appreciate the kindness, but I just like to be by myself during my lunch hour." And she's like, "Oh, if it's a lunch thing, I can meet you at dinner." And she's like, "No, honestly, I just like to keep myself very private." That was, what the woman said. Um, the lady started crying, reported her to HR, and she was out of a job based on that. And it was on social media, and I was like, imagine all the stories that haven't been documented. And then I started doing research on, I don't know if you guys know what EEOC is, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission in the
Yes.
United States.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It talked about the data that shows that the majority of people that are on unemployment, the racial disparity, uh, first is Black, then it's Hispanic, then it's Asian, and last is white, like a very small percentile. And these are from the people that reported a wrongdoing based on their protected class. It doesn't mean that the number could be higher. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the anthology. And the other one is called In Her Words, which is my daughter was working on a doc for her school project and wanted to support her dreams about writing about the mother-daughter experience relationship. She's hilarious, though. I love her to death because, in her words, I'm a difficult mother, but she still loves me.
Yeah, you should tell. That's what happens when you have Dominican moms.
Yeah.
Straight up. Straight up.
How long have you
Dude,
been writing, Luz?
I've been writing now. We're hitting 13 to 14 years. My husband and my kids are
Wow.
very a part of the journey because they are the fuel for my inspiration. Um, I created one book series with my son called Santo and Sheepy. That one is getting a lot of love, which I'm very happy about. And Maria was kind of like,
Aww.
I was writing to my inner child, but helping my daughters feel seen. And I know, like, for them, they learned a lot
Aww.
about publishing, but publishing is not easy. It's something that comes with time. I have to admit, the first year I wrote a book, I didn't see like money like that. It was years later because it takes a while, it really does.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you didn't quit. You
Absolutely.
kept going, because it was a passion. So it wasn't even
Love doing it.
all about the money, but
It wasn't.
I hope it's
Yeah.
paying off because it's a beautiful, beautiful journey that you've been able to share. People are able to resonate, and that's amazing. We need that.
Yeah, we do need that. It's very beautiful, especially, like we were saying, as first gen, you're very connected to the culture, very much, because your parents came here and that's all they know. And that's all that you know. So you are 100% Dominican. People ask you, where you from? I'm Dominican. No one, I'm sure none of us, when they ask you where you're from, none of us are like, well, I was born here, but my parents are Dominican. No, I'm Dominican. That's what I am.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as as the family grows and we become more, you know, for lack of a better word, Americanized, and you know, we start to, I'm not going to say lose it, because I don't, but we kind of start to like bring our kids into that path. We start to go to different schools that are not, you know, so, you know, with so many Dominican kids or, you know, Black and brown kids. We start to, you know, they start to, and so our kids kind of like lose that a little bit. Some don't know Spanish, whatever. And it's really nice to like teach them the culture through these books because they like it. Like it has like these beautiful, you know, illustrations, and they get really into it and they start asking questions. And I think is really, really important because, you know, that's something that I struggle, like, you know, bringing my culture to my son more, you know, and, you know, we read your book and he loved it. He was like, oh, you know, he was asking questions about, like I say, you know, like, you know, all the dances and all of that. We read a different book, something about a little girl that was making, habichuela con dulce. And now he's like, when he, yes. And so he's like, you know, when he goes, when abuela comes, I want her to make these sweet beans. You know, and so like I've never told him, you know, about these beans. You know what I mean? So it's so important, and I love that you're doing this. And it gives us, yeah, it gives us a chance, like share that with our kids. And your new book, El Secreto del Plátano, which I need to get. Can you just tell us a little bit? I know that you spoke about it a tiny bit, but if you can just tell us, you know, a little bit of like, you know, the like inspiration and like what to expect, you know, from that book, if you can.
Sure, I'm happy to share more about that book. So I wrote that book in the pandemic, and it was because at the height of the pandemic, when it first started, I was working at Weill Cornell Medicine, and everyone started going remote, you know, because of the scare with COVID. My dad was hospitalized at the VA hospital because he had COVID, and then I got COVID. Um, in the most awkward way. There was this point in time that I thought, like, oh my God, are we going to survive this? I don't know if you remember, there was this one part in the news, people were talking about like not like closing off the windows to make sure like no one sneezes or breathes like near you. Like it was such, you know, it was a very chaotic time. Everyone in the world was really unaware of how
Scare.
yeah, they were unaware like how fast this was spreading and how to prevent it and all these things. So one night I was asking my husband, "Do you think we're gonna make it?" And I know we both didn't know, but the fear was very imminent. Like it was lurking everywhere. Um, I went to sleep that night and I dreamed I was a little boy. I dreamed I wasn't me. I dreamed that I was walking out en la casa, como un jacal, una casa de esa hecha de madera con zinc arriba. Y I walked out and hasta sentí la grama en mi piecito, sentí como el frío de la tierra and when I walked, it was my grandmother just signaling me to come. Y estábamos en una finca de plátano, and it was beautiful. It was a night sky full of stars, and she kind of led me to dance, and we just danced this whole night away, and it was something I never experienced, and I really feel like that dream was real in my eyes and in my life, and woke up the next day and wrote it. And I knew it was her giving me reassurance. And that's what the dream was about. It was about just having this beautiful, magical moment with my grandmother. Obviously,
that is so sweet.
That's beautiful.
The book meant more to me last year when one of my cousins took the book to el cementerio y lo puso next to her grave. You know, so the book made it home, and I cried
because make me cry.
I haven't. I cried for two reasons. Through the years, my family relationship hasn't been that strong, and it's something I'm always kind of sad about, and it's something I accepted, but when my cousin did that, it meant the world to me, it really did, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and God
Mm-hmm.
bless her for it. Like I I just felt like very alone through my family. Like besides my sisters that supported me, like I had many challenges with my family, and I wish they were more supportive. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's all I'm gonna say. Don't think it's an easy road when you become a children's book writer. I heard it all. Like I heard it like esto una creída, esto, whatever, and it's really sad, but none of that is true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
None of that is
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
So it kind of hurts
Yeah.
because I wanted to share the moment of my book with my family, like extended family, and none of them showed up. So that was
Yeah. Yeah.
That must be
You
hard.
have
Yeah.
you have a beautiful family in other ways. People
Yeah.
have
I
shown
feel
up
like,
and
oh yeah,
yeah.
like God bless me and tenfold. I have a wonderful husband and kids, and I made a lot of people that aren't family and have become family in more ways than one.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
beautiful.
Cheers, girl.
Yes.
Cheers.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's the beauty when you're an adult. You can create like other families.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your
Like you
friends,
can say this is not working out, so I'm going to create another family.
your friends are the family that you chose.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
is so
Yeah.
true. That is so
Yeah.
true. And I
Yeah.
have to admit, like my husband's family has been the bomb.com. They've been the best. Like, his mother is amazing. I talk to her all the time, and she's always like, I call her the momager. She's like the Kris Jenner, but for our family. She's
The
like, what's going on
Christian.
with the books? Let me see what's going on. What contract I gave you? No, that's too little. We need to go here, baby.
That
That's
is
so
so
beautiful.
nice. No, but
That's
that
Yeah.
was so
amazing.
heartfelt. What your dream with your grandmother, and just she's giving you that reassurance. And I love the connection. You went back into literally. Ella estaba bailando contigo, like chill out, girl. We're good here. Todo está bien.
Yes.
Vamos a seguir. Sí,
Yeah, it was
that is
like, I don't
so.
know,
That is so
lo muy
Dominican.
inesperado.
Very much.
Eso es lo más
Yes. En
inesperado.
una finca de plátano, the plátanos have to be there.
Yeah. You know what
Yes.
it reminds me of? Like when the whole world is falling apart and you want to tell your mom or your family member, like, ay, Dios mío, mami, me está pasando esto. Ay, Dios mío, ¿qué voy a hacer? Y ella, cállate y cómete este arrocito con habichuela. Ven que te voy a buscar una sodita para que te caiga. Like, what that dream was.
Tate
Like,
tranquila,
I was
tate
like,
tranquila.
para de esperar.
Sí.
Eso que te está
Cómete tu
pasando la
arrocito.
vaina. Cómete tu arrocito.
That is
Te vas a
funny.
romper el coco.
That sounds my good right now. Con
It really
concita, con una
does.
salsita, right?
Oh my God,
I
yes.
see. It
That's the
does.
best.
It sounds really good. Yes.
Ay, ay, ay. Wow,
Oh my
wow.
God. So that book, it's honoring your grandmother.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's dedicated to my grandma, Luz Maria
Mhm.
Salcedo, de Morel. But yeah, she died when I was 16, and I was very close to her. And I'm almost turning 44, and I'm still not over her. Like it's weird because everyone could grieve someone that dies, but like once they've been part of your life, like they're part of you forever. It doesn't matter if they're not here anymore. And that's exactly what I wanted to write in this book. Like even though she's gone, she's still here for a lot of the most important things of my life.
So
Yeah.
is it a book about grief?
Not necessarily. It's a children's book, and it's almost like when
Okay.
you read it, it's gonna feel like a nighttime book. And
Mm.
I'm
It's like a
just saying
dream
because
book.
it is, but like honestly, when you read it, you'll see like it's a grandson and a grandmother having like this loving, playful moment, dancing under the a plátano, una finca de plátano. But
Mm.
since you know me and you know the story of how I dreamed it, it takes a more poignant realization. I know, like, a lot of people, when they hear plátano, they think like, oh, ella va a escribir de comida, like mofongo, totone, and all that stuff. No, I didn't think of that. That's what I thought. Like, una finca
That's
y las
nice.
cosas que podemos hacer that is not just about food and eating it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's
not just
huge,
about
but
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not all about that. And I love that you guys are dancing, you know, which is such a huge thing for us. Yeah. That
And
is such a
honestly, when
beautiful
you think
dedication
about
to
it,
your grandma.
yeah, when you think about it, like, it had another meaning to me because yo me crié en un campo. We didn't have like toys and all this stuff, but we had each other and we did everything around nature. So when you see the book, it's really surrounded by a lot of nature. So you get to experience that. Hasta le puse, ¿cómo se dice? Lo alambre de púa. You see it in the
Oh yes,
illustration
yeah,
Oh,
alambre de
atrás.
púa.
sí.
En una
Mm-hmm.
manera bien bonita because I wanted to capture lo que era para mí vivir en el campo
Yeah.
y la casita de madera.
Yeah,
Very
Yes.
detailed. Yeah.
that's beautiful. And, you know, being I grew up in Santiago, but when we used to go to the campo, it's a beautiful experience. One,
Yes, it is.
my mom, like I would meet up with my cousins, you know, from the campo, and they used to take me everywhere. Uno caminaba. It just felt so
Same.
free. There was
It's
no
free.
TV. There was nothing like that. There was not like toys and stuff like that. But it was so much fun because you just got to be out and you got to see people en lo colmado, you know, people that knew you, que te daban galletica, que lo que sea. It was so beautiful. Yeah.
Yo
It
siento que hasta el
was.
sol de hoy, que cuando yo voy para Santo Domingo, I never have more fun than in the campo. Cuando
Yes.
yo voy para el campo es que yo me siento como que yo estoy en mi comunidad con mi gente a bailar en la gasolina, en the gasoline station, en la playa, comiendo pescado frito, bailando en la playa. And I remember as a little girl, Grandpa would take us to the beach. Ahí mismo en el campo también, y ahí está la playa. Nosotros hasta dormíamos en la playa. He would make it a big deal. Nosotros, and that would be so beautiful to me. It just brought back memories of Grandpa.
Yeah.
A mí sí me hace falta Santo Domingo. Yo tengo años que no voy porque yo me puse de idiota. Hicimos el sacrificio de poner a nuestros hijos en escuela privada. So, yo doy asco, señores. Yo no he ido a Santo Domingo en todo esto. Para que los muchachos tengan una educación buena. Y yo digo, mira,
That's what you do when you're a parent.
Que uno de ustedes se quemen para yo darle esta golpeada después de
Tú vas a ser como los dominicanos hacen. Vamos a ir a Santo Domingo para yo darte una golpea en Santo Domingo, where no one is going to tell me nothing.
Yes.
Porque la chiquita me amenaza de que tú no vas a hacer nada.
Yeah, she knows you're not gonna do nothing. Mira, Luz, para que no te sientas mal, mi hija por primera vez, y yo he ido unas cuantas veces, pero mi hija por primera vez, la primera vez que fue para Santo Domingo, she turned 19. So it took me a long time to take my kid, and yo soy dominicana hasta la tambora, y voy como quiera, yo he ido sola, pero mi hija nunca había ido. Y ahora ella tiene, mira, una calentura que todo, y que ya ha ido 2 veces. Now she's like, when are we going to go back? When are we going to go back? When are we going to go back? She loves it. So, no te apures, que eso viene.
Eso viene. La grande fue, y ella lo que más le dolió, ella fue la grande, los dos chiquitos no han ido. Ella lo que más le dolió, porque yo vengo de una familia bien grande. My mom is one of 11. Y como yo me crié, eso es lo que yo digo, como nosotros nos criamos, la costumbre que mi mamá nos puso, ellos no llegaron a ver eso, ellos no llegaron a ver de que todos los primos juntos, todo el mundo de que durmiendo como palito y queso, uno al lado del otro. Ella no llegó. Ella no, eso como duele, tú ves. Entonces, no sé, yo digo la distancia y por muchas razones, X motivos. Pero cuando ella fue a Santo Domingo, ella como se quedó tan enamorada de tan larga y profunda que es la familia y como que llegó a compartir con muchos. Yo me río porque tú sabes que aquí los muchachos de aquí son muy loco con los Jordans y con los
Mhm.
Nike Tech y con toda esta vaina. Allá son, y más los santiagueros, somos bien chulitos. We like our white sneakers, todo limpiecito, las mujeres con su vestidito, y aquí los muchachones visten sport. Allá no, allá todo el final, coach, lo que sea. Y mi hija dijo, man, I never felt so poor because people don't use Jordans here. Like they found it so disgusting. Y yo muerto de la risa.
Oh
Eso no
my
se
God.
usa, mija. La gente lo que quiere es janguear.
She's like,
No,
I
but
know, I
it's
know.
Jordans. Y yo por dentro, oh my God.
Yeah, they're
it's a
like, we
different
don't even know
culture.
what you're, yeah, they're like, we don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I
It's
know,
a
right?
completely different culture.
La
It is.
cultura. Yeah.
Mhm.
Dile que
She's
siga
like,
llegando su Jordan, que ella, she's going to promote it over there.
muchacha, ella de una
I know.
yo la estaba relajando, dije, mamá te llevó a la sirena. No, ella me llevó a otro sitio a comprar otro vestidito para no quedarme atrás.
Otro vestidito.
I love
No,
La
pero una,
Sirena.
yes.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
just, it's a completely different culture. And like you were saying, I still tell my kids, they've traveled to DR y han pasado verano allá and everything. But like, I constantly tell them like my upbringing, even though I was born here, ¿verdad? Mi mamá, del campo, right? So she came to this country and she held on to those la cultura del campo, because we do things and react and eat like if we were in the campo. Like I remember just a few weeks ago, we went to have lunch with my in-laws y ellos son de la capital. And
Oh, wow.
mostly todito ellos no viajaron mucho a Santo Domingo when they were kids. Like my husband, he started going to DR with me when we got together. And I was like, sí, yo como pata de gallina, yo como pata de puerco, yo como mondongo. And they're like, oh my God, what do you eat? And I'm like, sí, yo como todo eso. Didn't you eat that when you were a little girl? And they're like, no.
No, y si te lo daban y tú lo comí y no lo comías, te decía, ah, pues tú no tienes hambre. Tú no tienes hambre, porque si tienes hambre, tú te lo comes.
Yeah.
Y como tú dijiste, Luz, también, our parents, like Jesse's dad and my mom, their brother and sister, y ellos son 11 children también. So es una
They're
que
11.
nosotros somos primos que siempre juntos estábamos, sí, they're 11. 3 boys and 8 girls.
Mm-hmm.
Ay, Dios
Yes.
mío,
Sí.
qué
Yes.
Jesse,
Y de parte de mi mamá, de parte de mi mamá son 8. So de mi papá son 11, pero de mi mamá son 8. So you could just imagine.
Y para mi esposo, nada más, él y su hermana. So ellos me miraron y dije, oh my God, ustedes no tenían televisión. Entonces nosotros somos 5 hermanos. You know, it's 3. So they're just like, because ellos son totalmente una familia tradicional americana que no tienen más de 2 por experiencia. Y después ahí se cierran la fábrica. Y de los primitos de ellos nada más son 2. Son como una familia bien pequeñita, ¿tú me entiendes?
Yeah. When I tell people like, well, you know, my immediate family, like, you know, like if we could have like a get together, there's like we're rolling like 20 plus deep.
Yeah.
And people are like, what? Like, yeah, like, you know, it's like 20 plus people for Christmas and, you know, 20 plus people for Thanksgiving. Like, what do you mean?
Yes.
Hold on, there's less than that? I don't even know what. That's not a party. That's not a party. I know.
So,
Pues sí.
Luz, you offer workshops, right?
Yes.
So, yes. So if you can just let us know a little bit, talk about your, you know, like you can provide a little more details about the board book workshops. That's what they really are that you offer. Like, what are those?
So
kind of like, what is that?
So, for the workshops I've done is 6 of them. One is called a board book workshop where we start with different projects and getting to know all the board book faces from like the song books that are board books, from the letters to the numbers, like easy, like very easy, because a board book doesn't exceed 100 words. Sometimes it's 0 to 100 words. That's the maximum in a board book. It's like only a couple sentences. That's what comprises a board book. But the magic of a board book is really the illustrations and the fact that a board book is a child's first reading tool. So I kind of guide you through that. We learn all the different types of board books. Besides, there's board books that we could make that are not made of board. They're made of cloth and things like that. It's almost like a DIY experiment. And then the other classes are picture books, traditional picture book, early reader. There's early reader has two stages of that classes, because I also go into the legal aspects like copyrights and protecting your rights and all these parts of the things about working with other people, how to work with other people and collaborate with them, because you need to also protect their rights and know about what their rights and their percentages that they're going to ask for. So I go through a lot of those phases, but honestly, my joy is making sure that people, when they talk to me about writing a children's book, they have everything they need if they're going to self-publish, that they could successfully publish. Now, I've had a couple people, I'm not going to say names, tell me, yo no tengo ni 5 pesos para que me muerta, que tú me puedes dar for free. So yo le mando un mensajito of what they could do.
Oh my God.
Email Jack, oh, I'm so sorry you can't afford a consulting fee or a workshop, but here you go. Y se lo mando, but I do not read their story.
Yeah.
I do not help them develop their story, because honestly, that takes work. If you are not investing in your story, I cannot invest in something that's not.
Yeah.
So that's how I take it.
Yeah, that takes work.
everything.
That takes energy.
Yeah, that's just too much. And like you said, you had to do it for yourself. You had to dig, and again, it's like with everything that anybody does.
Yeah, it takes work. It takes energy. You're asking somebody to like walk you through something, and it's like you're not gonna go to Macy's and be like, "I love this perfume. Like this, it smells so great. This is awesome, but I don't have any money. Is there any way I can get this for free?" Like, so
who does that?
Why would you go to somebody and ask them that?
Pero ese mismo ejemplo que tú usaste, you don't know how many times I had, like, for example, I had a school tell me, and Angie and I was cracking up. There was this teacher, she said, Hispanic Heritage Month is coming. She emailed me 2 months, we would love to have you from 8 to 2. At the time, I wasn't working. It was before I landed my full-time gig. I'm like, sure, I'm happy to provide a reading. Here's my fee. She emails me, not right away, like a month later. Oh, are you still coming next week? By the way, we're not paying anything. We thought this will be a good exposure opportunity for you. And I said, I'm sorry, at this point in time.
An exposure for you.
For you. Exactly. And this was a principle. Let me tell you. I don't know if you know this. You can look up how much money a school has. There's like a way DOE, like the budget that they have for library, the budget they have for this. It's a way, because New York City Board of Ed has to lead with transparency. I said again, thank you again for the invitation, but at this time I can't make those accommodations. I'm only making accommodations for paid opportunities to do a reading. And then she's like, no, but the kids were looking forward already. She even told them that I was coming, according to her email. So I said, you know what? When she did that, like, that kind of hurt.
Very unprofessional.
And I said, oh my God, I have story for days. So I said, here's my contact for people, like my contact for Chase, my contact for this. they do sponsor events. Maybe you could contact them. Maybe they could pay me something. I think I even lowered my fee like way just to make something happen. She said, no, why don't you do that and make sure you get paid and then come and do the reading? And if you could donate some books. And that's when I had a Drew. And that's one thing that...
Why don't you contact Chase and everybody? Because she can't do it.
She cannot do it.
I know,
and that's something that I was laughing with other authors. There's a lot of predatory behaviors that happen in when you are an artist, and if you don't protect yourself, because you're living off your art and you enjoy your art.
No, but you know, it's Luz. It's so sad to hear, but you know what? It happens a lot. Like I have my private practice and I have stories about that, right? Yeah. I have stories of people really like calling and asking for these things without being aware, like the energy, the time, right? That it takes to provide your services.
She wanted me to work for free from 8 to 2 and then insulted me over email. And that was one experience that I could never forget. Because I was like, oh my God, like, and I know this happens to other authors, and you know, that's when you have to grow like a very, it's not like a thick skin, but you have to be very sure of your art, your work, and say, I'm so sorry.
And your worth.
I'm not available, but I do have free book videos that you could see for free in lieu of me making a visit, since it's not within your budget. And she's like, we're not.
Buy one of the books and do a read along. And I'm going to say this nice and kindly, biatch. How dare she? Oh my God.
But it happens a lot. It happens so many times. And I always wonder, why is it happening? And maybe it is because of the budget cuts. Maybe it is because of that. But then you have resources, because I'm not the only author with book videos. The
thing is, it was her delivery.
But yeah, that does happen to a lot of like brown and like black and brown business owners. I know of like friends that have had things like that happen to, but just the audacity, like not only are you talking to me sideways, but like you waited a month. Like if you knew you couldn't pay me, at least reply right back and be like, hey, so, XYZ. But no, you want to not pay me, but like, so are you coming a month later? Okay. And then you're like, oh, and can you also bring books to like, give out like, yo, like, are you for real? You're asking for a lot right now.
Tú tenías que decirle, ¿y qué más? Te traigo un mango con queso. ¿Qué más tú quieres?
No, but honestly,
un ron.
I mean, I do free things every now and then, but I do it like with Angie. I do it with like in community with other people that I know is going to be good. I have done free book readings at a school, but not the whole day. That's something that I'm taking
that's
off my
lot.
time.
Like from 8 to 2, that's a part-time job right there.
Absolutely.
And it comes from you. You do your free things when you feel like it. Like you shouldn't
you
be
make
asked.
that choice.
It's just
absolutely
horrible. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Luz, like even talking about this right now, right? Because I think we, like in general, we all go through that, but I think in a lot of black and brown individuals that are doing their own thing really go through that. There's like this expectation that you should lower your prices, or your prices shouldn't be that expensive for whatever reason. It even comes from our own neighborhood, our own people sometimes, that they feel like you should lower your price because you're Latina, you're Dominican, and that's really offensive, because it doesn't take into consideration the hard work, the time, and the passion and the things that we do. You're just taking what I do not serious.
Yeah.
So talking about that, I'm wondering if you have, with all these experiences that you've mentioned, if you have any advice for any black and brown, Latino, Latina, Dominican, writer who's aspiring to write a book, who is seeking to publish, what do you advise them to do?
There's three things I advise people. When I first started writing, I didn't know the business of writing. And it is a business. You have to really know that when you start, like, let's say a children's book, at one point in time, you would budget at least $5,000 to create a book. This is just to create the book. We're talking about paying an illustrator, an editor, a formatter. It's probably a little bit more, copyrights. And you could probably do something at a cheaper rate, possibly. But to do it well and to do it in a way that it could compete with other books in its genre, you have to invest some money. Also, when you're writing your children's book, before it launches, you have to give yourself a good 6 to 9 months of advertising the book, of like going through social media, publicizing it, going through bookstagrammers or book bloggers and sharing it. So there is that component that you are like almost sharing your work for free, but it's also with the expectation that people are going to share it. And then that first year that it's out, try to sell so you could at least break even. A lot of people don't like to hear this, but most books don't sell. Most books do not sell. Publishers say that. They're like some books that sell well and some that just like break even or do something. And even myself as a writer that has multiple books, I've noticed the books that sell a little bit more and the ones that don't. It doesn't matter. You're practicing your art. You know, a lot of debut writers they're trying to be a New York Times bestseller right away or do this. No, just fall in love with the art of writing. Fall in love with the process. I am a big believer things come when they're supposed to come. I still believe that for myself. And then when you are charging for your art, make sure you're charging the right rate. Because usually we are not paid. There's such a disparity in the wages we get that you won't notice. And this is how I learned this. When an author who happens to be not of color is doing an author reading, they would charge 3 times more than what I was charging. And even then, I was having a hard time getting those economic opportunities. Because even here in the Bronx community, I believe 2 of you beautiful ladies live in the Bronx, right? Are you in the city?
Yes.
You wouldn't believe how many authors of color are not invited to our local schools. It happens. Yeah. Now, I think we have the right principles, the right people in place that are advocating for us and want to make sure that our kids are learning from people that look like us and live in the community. But once upon a time, it wasn't so, you know? So make sure you stick to your guns and advocate for you. I got really like, I guess, adamant about my worth because I knew what I was bringing into a classroom when I do an author reading. I knew I was going to read the book. The kids are going to see it as a book video, depending on the age range. And then we were going to play an online game based on the book. And then the kids leave happy. They love the activity. The activity is culturally relevant as well as it helps the teachers with their curriculum. So it's something that I've been able to do more and more. And now when teachers have me, they want me to come again. Obviously, right now with budget cuts and everything that's going on, there's not a lot of author visits, but when it happens, I'm thrilled because it's really hard, but you have to stick to your guns. So my advice is know the business, know what to charge, and don't be afraid to charge it.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that. I think that's really good for a lot of individuals that are writing or want to start their journey as writers. You know, and being able to find places where they can find the support, you know, like where can they find you? I know that you do this workshop. So where are they able to find you if they want to be able to tap into all of your knowledge?
So they could reach out to me via my website, luzmack.com. they could also reach out to me in social media. I'm surprised how many writers do reach out to me through social media. I had this one writer that he always kind of like, it was very interesting the way he reached out to me. He was someone that had just been given a second chance of life, and he wanted me to read his manuscript. And it was really hard for me to turn down his request, because it was such a heartfelt message, you know? And I read his manuscript and I gave him advice. He had already published the book by then. But when I gave him advice, he's like, damn, I didn't know that. And the reason I'm using this example is that most people that want to write a children's book, they forget that they need to read a lot of children's books before they write one of their own. Because they need to see, once they read a lot of children's book, the common themes. What are the common themes? Do the research on what's out there. What is it that you want to write about? What is the age group? If you're writing a board book that is less than 0 to 100 words, it's not the same as a picture book. A picture book is 500 words. What makes it stand apart? Like, I know right now that's very thematic, depending on the theme that you want to write about. But honestly, I'm surprised that a lot of individuals might not know that this is what sets your book apart if you do it well, knowing those in and outs about publishing. And it's important for them to know.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
I'll share with you one more thing that I think is of value. And it's something that I try to share often. Hold on. Let me just do this, because I just think, because we're in this space, I want you guys to know this. Screen. When I started publishing children's book, it was around 2015, 2016. Just so you see, the diversity in children's book at that time was barely existing. 21. Wow. This graph is from 2018 to 2021. We're now, the numbers that are out now from 2022 and 2023 is not much different. We're still like faring at a 6%. And again, Latinos, when people in publishing say Latinos, we're considering it all. Mexican, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Ecuadorian, Spaniard, Brazilian, Colombian, the list goes on.
Wow.
These are the creators of some of the hit shows, because a lot of people think there's people that represent our communities, writing stories for our communities. Chris Gifford, he's the creator of Dora the Explorer. Jennifer Hamburg, she's one of the creators of Dick McStuffin, and most recently Rosie's Rule. Dana Terrace, she created the Owl House. The Owl House, not sure if you know a lot about it. It's the heroine, her name is Luz, and she was supposed to be meant to be a Dominican child that they were featuring. I'm not sure if you know, there was no Dominican people working in that IP, from my understanding.
So most of these writers and creators that are tapping into Latino culture is mostly
not
white
of the community.
Mm-hmm.
So we see Coco, which was the first biggest hit. It was created by a man named Lee Unkrich, and it was directed by Adrian Molina. Adrian Molina is from a Hispanic community. But you see this person right here, Mama Coco? She was a real person. So Pixar came, created a movie. And I'm not sure if they hired people from that community, like artists or authors. But what I'm trying to say is that there's economic opportunities when you make books, when you make animations. And it's so sad to see there's not many of us that are doing the stories that is for our culture. And that's what I'm trying to say. And I'm sure a lot of people don't know that. And like, you know, the DOE has this return to phonics and citing, and it's a crisis about literacy. But yet, this is the breakdown of students by race in the Bronx. since it's my local community. Number 1 is Hispanic. Number 2 is African American. But yet we don't have books that reflect that in our educational system. And then we have the dominant culture, which is English and Spanish. So there's still a very need to have culturally relevant books and books that reflect our languages to continue teaching our kids. And lastly, percentage of Bronx students not reading at grade level in the last 5 years. As you can see, if we continue down this path, there's no telling how the next future will look like. And the next set of storytellers. But it might not look like us if we continue down this path.
Yeah. It's so sad. It's completely. Yeah. It's also very disappointing.
It breaks my heart to see that.
And it's we had Angie on the podcast, and you just pretty much what you're saying. It's like, you know, something that she said as well. She said, you know, when we write a book or we write a story or anything about our culture and we want to put it out there, all of a sudden there's not an audience for it. But when a white person, a person that's not of color, writes a book about our story or writes a movie, anything about our story, all of a sudden there is an audience. And it's disrespectful to have, and I will say it, it's disrespectful to have white people write about our culture. You don't know us. You keep stealing from us over and over and over again. And it is frustrating and it's sad. And at some point it needs to stop. How can you write about me when you don't know me? You don't know my struggles. You don't know where I came from. And you have the audacity to write a story about my people like it's yours? The fuck are you? It's insane.
But
it's insane.
Yeah.
That's why I said the moment, like when you write a story and you're submitting it to publishers, it's a story that's gonna go to people that don't look like you or come from your community. So to justify that story being in the wider audience is them who has to take a chance on it. It's really different. I always say this, you can't compare someone from New York from someone from Florida. We're different. One of them is going to smack you with the Timberland boots if you mistake. But the truth of the matter is the same thing in publishing. Like,
yeah,
that's what's happening. They want to know which one is going to have the mass appeal.
Right.
So it's easier to, I don't know, get something that it feels very American or what it is to be American. And in books, I mean, like, it's not a secret that most of the books that hit New York Times bestseller, you see the books that are out there, it's not a secret. Yep. Like, you barely see, like, who, I don't know, like, I have it, like, I'm actually very excited Julia Alvarez has another book coming out, right? But, like, yes. I didn't hear so much publicity behind it, and it always kind of shocks me because she's a legend.
She is a legend. And many, unfortunately, many people, even in our community, don't know about her.
Exactly.
And she is a legend.
Mm-hmm. She's a legend. And that's, and it kind of struck me, you know, it really did.
Mm-hmm. It's
yeah, we need more people in our community reading our books. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that's where you come. That's where you and Angie and all of our amazing Latino Dominican writers come, right? Like, you continue to fight the fight and you continue to honor our culture and you continue to show who we are as people, that we are more than what people think Dominicans and Latinos are, right? That our culture is beautiful, that our culture is rich. And we got to thank you for that. Thank you for always not giving up and honoring your culture and honoring us and giving us a voice and giving our little ones a voice. The work that you do is beautiful, and thank you for doing that.
Well, I thank you so much. And I really appreciate you having me here. And I guess the last thing I'll show you, and it's for Maggie because she showed her son, right? Did I get it right? Or is it your son or your daughter? Okay.
It's my son, Mateo.
Mateo. Little Maria discovers her dance. So let me show you this.
This is Luz's website.
Yeah, so we're seeing her website, and it's beautiful.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh wow!
Which flag is this? Since you read the book,
that's so pretty. Wow. So it's sort of like a game online.
Go ahead,
Maggie. An online game. They can play.
Which flag?
Puerto Rico.
You think so? No. You read the book.
No, Venezuela.
No, wait a minute.
You got it.
There we go. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
from their outfit.
From the dress. Yes.
Which one is it?
Ese cubana.
Cuba, yeah.
You think so? No.
No, it says Mexico.
Puerto Rico. ¿A dónde?
Ese Puerto Rico.
Es Puerto Rico. Ese México.
Yeah. Sí, ese México.
This is from the
Is it
book.
Cuba?
Cuba.
You got it.
Woohoo! We got it right. We know our culture.
Woo! That is so cool. Wow.
That's so cool. So that's a game. After they read the book, they can go and play this game. That's so cool.
Yes, that's cool.
Amazing.
Look at you continue to create and create and create, girl. And that is just amazing.
Other levels there for
That's
each
so
book.
cool.
Thank
Yes,
you. Wow.
That sounds. Oh my god! I wish I had a little one.
Me too. Not really. I'm good. I'll borrow Mateo cuando me dé deseo.
Sí, cuando me da la gana. Sí.
Y después se lo devuelvo.
Ni tú misma te lo crees. I've been seeing those videos that you do. Ni tú misma te lo crees. Your dancing Texas hold up.
Oh my god! So look.
Luz. Ay, no. Yo no
Por lo menos tú te puedes mover. Yo me quedo ahí sentada y que todo eso se ve bien. Todo eso se ve bien, pero lo voy a hacer de aquí.
Yes.
That's so funny
Oh my
because ahora
God.
me dio con eso. I'm like, let me move my body. And if I remember how to coordinate, choreography is huge for me. And I'm like, that's good for my brain. So I was like, déjame ver si yo me pongo a aprender todo baile, And my daughter's like, Mom, please, like, do you really need to do this? I'm like, déjame tranquila, yo tengo mi TikTok, no lo veas si tú no quieres, but she supports me. She likes all of them.
Listen, my neurologist said to me, once you hit 40, right? Once you hit 40, you need to make sure that you learn a new skill. Because that helps your brain to continue to be young. And it avoids, in some way, it's a prevention of Alzheimer's.
So pues mira, yo estoy...
Learn your steps and your dance.
Learn your dances.
Ay, Dios mío, Luz, you are amazing.
TikTok saves me. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Luz, we want to honor your time, but before you go, you have to answer our signature question. We ask this to all of our guests. And then you're free to go. We're sorry, but you have so much information.
And I'm so sorry that the kids were like, ellos se olvidan, señores. Ellos se olvidan.
No, it's fine. We know how it is. It's Friday night, so they're like, I'm home.
No, y el chiquito me estaba esperando en el sofá, pero se fue. That's our good night thing. We'll cuddle and I'll watch him play video games.
Oh, that's so
that's
cute.
So sweet.
So
the only one that wants to hugs me. The other one's Jack.
The little one.
Yes. It only lasts until like there may be 10 or 11, and then that's it.
That's 10. That's it. Like I know this is my last year, so I'm taking all the hugs I can.
Ay, ay, ay.
So, Luz, una pregunta.
Diga.
No matter where you are, no, it doesn't matter the country, the place, the location. It doesn't matter where you are financially. It doesn't matter where you are emotionally. What is one thing that no one can take away from you about you being Dominican?
No matter how famous, the most
No
famous
matter how
writer.
mira, tú puedes estar viviendo en una mansión, and that no one can take away.
El
That,
mofonguito.
that Dominican.
El mofonguito lo necesito con la salsita arriba.
Oh, yes.
Y una soda roja.
Oh,
un country
club.
Un country. Y yo ni le digo country club. Yo no le digo, yo le digo, dame una soda roja. Y todo el mundo me dice, pero mi niña, tú eres una mujer tan fina, un refresco de frambuesa. Y yo no, una soda
De frambuesa,
roja.
de frambuesa.
Frambuesa. Oh my
Como
God,
lo
that's a
dicen
good
ellos.
one.
That's a good one.
No,
So no matter what, tú tienes que tener tu carrito de chimichurri somewhere.
somewhere. Emma, I remember, you know, the last time me and my husband traveled, it was our honeymoon. And we spent 2 weeks in Italy. Had I known that was going to be the last time ese hombre se monte en un avión, yo me hubiera pasado un mes con él. Porque ese hombre para montarlo en un avión hay que casi matarlo. Pero anyways, I digress. Después de 7 días, yo, papi, pero aquí no hay plátano. Yo estoy loca por un mofonguito, un mangusito, algo.
Ahí no hay nada de eso.
You have no idea lo que es ser dominicano en un sitio donde no hay plátano. Like, eso duele.
Sí, eso duele. Cuando yo me mudé para acá arriba, yo sufrí porque yo no sabía dónde había. I couldn't find anything Dominican. Fui para un salón que tenía la bandera dominicana y cuando yo me metí a ese salón, yo salí casi llorando porque había una mexicana haciéndome el pelo, este pelo. And I said, oh my God, this can't be life. I'm going to have to be traveling back and forth just to get my hair
This
done.
can't be life.
Heidi,
Gracias a Dios que todo ha cambiado, pero esto era un campo que yo sufrí.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
our sister and Heidi live near, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I remember this was a while ago.
When they first moved in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We went to a supermarket and they had plátanos. And the plátanos had a sticker on them being like, you can boil me, you can fry me. Like, what?
No.
Instructions.
Yes.
Espérate, y el plátano costaba un plátano por 5 pesos.
Yes. Yes.
Señor,
When they first moved upstate, they used to, because before no había plátano upstate New York. So I remember my sister waiting for us to go visit her to be like, tráigame plátano, like buy me a whole bunch of plátanos.
Yo hacía mi compra antes de venir. Si yo iba a los weekends o algo to the city, yo venía con mi compra, con mi aceite canola, con mi arroz canilla, todo eso, just because I knew I couldn't find it here.
Luz, my son who is 18, he's in college. My son who's 18 in college, and he was born here. Every time he comes back, I could say le lo tres golpes.
Es que yo conozco ese dolor. Yo viví en Utah y en Idaho. Yo una vez llevaron plátano en Idaho. Y yo me recuerdo yo caminando del supermercado que es una milla para the campus. Ya esos plátanos estaban amarillos by the time I got home para cocinarlo. Esos plátanos no duraban. Y era casi 10 pesos por esos 2 platanitos.
Y el plátano de Nutrío, así, flaquito.
Oye, if when the plátano first got to upstate New York came with, you know, a little sticker, you can boil me. The plátanos in Idaho were like, here's a website address so you can know how to make it.
No, porque I'm talking to you about 1998.
Watch this video.
We didn't have a website por esa vaina. So that was a lot. Pero para mí,
era nada más tú que sabías hacer tutorial.
No, y lo más bonito que yo me recuerdo, because I went, I grew up Mormon, and I went to BYU, Idaho for college. Y yo me recuerdo que yo creo que fue alguien mexicano que I met there told me, ay, nosotros no comemos los plátanos con crema. And I'm like, con crema. And it's like a garlic cream cheese. Y yo, no me toque eso con mi mangú. Eso no va con mangú. I was like, como like
eso, crema. Espérate, pero el plátano estaba boiled o frito.
Muchacha, I didn't even let them finish the sentence. Yo no sé lo que me estaba tratando de decir. That was enough for me. I was traumatized.
That's crazy.
I thought he was talking about a bagel with cream cheese y metió el plátano ahí, so forget it. Y yo más nunca me olvidé de esa experiencia. That was the first time I heard about plátano con cream cheese, una vaina cremosa. Es una diarrea mortal que le tenía que dar ese hombre.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
But thank you for sharing your Dominican, your must-have Dominican food or culture, or who you are. Thank you so much. Yes. Yes. And we want to honor your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Once again, the work that you're doing it's so beautiful, but also keep doing it because you are creating a voice for all of us, for our culture and honoring our culture and representing who we are, but also showing our children. Because sometimes I feel like when our kids are born in the US, like you said, they don't know about the culture. They don't have that experience, and they can get very confused at times of what it is to be Dominican. And I think that you are creating that path of listen, this is what it is. This is our culture. This is what you honor. This is what you love about us. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, yeah.
And for graciously accepting our welcoming yourself into this platform to be with us. This is awesome.
It was
for the invitation.
Honor. It was so much fun. I'm sorry it was so delayed. But it was a blessing. It was good.
It
was such a blessing. I'm so happy for your patience because, a new role really kind of kicks you to the, it takes everything out of whack.
Yeah.
But God bless you, ladies. And please, whatever I could do to help and elevate your platform, please let me know.
Thank you. Thank you, sister.
Take care.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, Luz.
Please share the name of your website again, your Instagram, just so we can share it as well. It's going to be on the show notes, but really quickly, if you can share that.
Sure. So
where can we find you?
Facebook and Instagram, I go by Luz Mack Official, and on my website is Luz Mack. And you can also follow me on TikTok or Tita, como dice mami, and Luz Mack Official as well.
Perfect. Great. Thank you again. Take care, my love.
Thank you so much.